Hello and thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime, the podcast where we discuss cybercrimes and cybersecurity news every week. This week we will be discussing a crypto stealer that has made its way not only to the Android Google Play Store, but the Apple App Store by infecting legitimate apps that already did some kind of security verification. So how does something like this happen? I'm going to start by just saying one of my big pet peeves in the cybersecurity world is the idea that Apple is secure, which has given a lot of people the wrong idea about what security is. I've seen people who think Macs can't get malware or that they don't need to take any other steps to protect their passwords, authentication tokens, or data because, well, Apple devices are secure. And I think Apple also promotes this idea in their marketing a lot. I've seen many billboards equating Apple with security, and I don't necessarily agree. There's not a single product I would say is 100% secure, ever. I will say this though, Apple does generally have more security controls over very specific things, such as the App Store. And I don't think that's a bad thing, especially for less technical users who may not be able to weed out fake apps as easily. But I personally prefer my Android and my ability to sideload more apps if I want, and customize things and access different developer tools that I couldn't with an Apple product. And, well, Apple products are also not immune to malware, despite all the effort into ensuring the Apple Store is mostly clean. One of the most common ways malware is installed on iPhones in particular is malicious apps that make it past security reviews somehow. The App Store actually does do a pretty good job at checking most apps to make sure they are legitimate, where with Androids, it's a lot less strict. Plus, Androids can also get apps from third-party installers a lot more easily. Though I will note that Apple has also recently started allowing you to sideload apps, which is just getting them from third-party installers in recent updates, although this is only with approved developers. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is you should never assume that anything you do is automatically safe and secure just because it was approved by Apple, or by Google, or by Microsoft, or by anyone. Oversights happen, and if something seems suspicious, it's worth looking into more, even if it's on a platform that you typically trust. Heck, I've covered plenty of Android malware on this podcast, and I've also covered malware that's made itself into Microsoft's official store. All of this was to say that for the very first time, crypto-stealing malware was found in the Apple App Store, not in one app, but in multiple different apps. And as I said, this is the first time this type of malware in particular has slipped past security checks. Yes, other malware has made it past prior, but nothing quite like this, which I think is really interesting. I would also like to note that yes, this exists in Android phones as well. You're not safe just because you use an Android, and it works very similarly there, so when I'm describing how it works, that applies to both types of devices. The only reason I'm making note of this is because this, in particular, has not happened on an iOS app, but it's happened on Android apps before. With all my disclaimers out of the way, this malware campaign is called SparkCat. And how exactly did it manage to get into the App Store unnoticed? Well, it actually leveraged already approved legitimate apps by infecting those apps. The developers of those apps none the wiser, completely unaware it happened. Or, at least supposedly, there is a chance someone has made a legitimate app before, waited for it to get put to the store, and then pushed malicious updates out. It's unknown which of these two scenarios happened, and it could be both even. According to a report by Kaspersky, the apps range from food delivery apps to AI chatbot apps. And I've been seeing a lot of fake, weird AI chatbot apps pop up recently, clearly kind of playing off the hype of ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and other AI chatbot tools, either to make some money or, well, deploy some malware. In 2025, one thing I'm anticipating, besides generally a lot of ransomware, which is what I expect every year, honestly, is for even more fake AI apps to just have malware on them. So be on the lookout for those. If you're gonna use AI tools, use legit ones. Don't use a random one made by a developer you have never heard of. Anyways, in these infected apps, there's a malicious script in the root folder put there by attackers. This script does a couple of things, but it mostly collects device data and sends it out to attackers. Interesting enough, it also searches your gallery for photos that contain certain keywords in them, and it's able to send those to attackers as well. One of the issues I have with mobile apps in general is the amount of privileges they ask for often. Privileges that I really find to be unnecessary. A lot of apps will ask for your contacts just to go look them up and see if they have the same app, but it's not necessary, and sometimes they'll demand you turn this on to even run the app. Not only do I think this is a bit of a violation of privacy, it's also conditioning people to just accept any privileges an app asks for without thinking twice about it. That being said, when an app asks for access to your gallery, people don't think that's unusual anymore. An AI chat app asking for access to your gallery so you can upload images to it may not actually even be that unusual. There's many reasons you'd want to upload an image to a chatbot. Maybe you're generating an image based on that. Maybe you want the bot to look for something in the image. But it can also be exploited quite a bit. So what exactly is the malware looking for in your photos gallery? Is it images for sex-based extortion scams? I see these on r/scams a lot, where people get emails from people saying that they have nude photos of them and they're going to leak it if they don't send them money. Maybe it's images of your home or the inside of your business to find sensitive data. Well, not quite in this case, but this could be a purpose for a similar malware. One method of authentication and account recovery for certain accounts, like crypto wallets, password managers, and VPNs, includes a list of a bunch of random phrases. The phrases are random and usually written down physically, but it can be a good idea to also take a picture of the phrase, just in case you accidentally throw out the paper it's written on. If the attacker grabs these phrases, they can access your crypto wallet, transfer your crypto to them, and there's nothing you can do about it. This is what the malware is looking for on devices. Crypto is not regulated. That is the whole point and part of the appeal of it. That also means that in cases like this, you can't really do anything. You can't explain this to your bank and have them help you cancel the transaction or get your money back, because there is no central authority over crypto. Whatever platform you make your wallet on may not be able to do much for you either. They likely won't insure or refund you in any way. At the time of Kaspersky's report, this mobile crypto stealer was on 18 infected Android apps and 10 infected iPhone apps. Some of them had already been taken down by the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, but some are still up, and more may crop up in the future. So how can you avoid something like this happening? Well, if you have a crypto wallet, don't store the phrases they give you in plain text or even image files on your phone. It is honestly best to keep it physically secure on paper in something like a locked safe or a lockbox, somewhere only you can have physical access to it. If you have to keep it on your phone for whatever reason, you should encrypt that file specifically so attackers can't access it. Device encryption isn't going to be enough if malware gets on it and can grab it from your gallery. The malware is already on your phone. It can already read the file. Also, avoid installing apps that are not necessary. AI chatbots can be fun to mess with, but don't install them from random developers you've never heard of before. I try to semi-regularly delete all the apps I don't need on my phone just to be safe, and I also try to stick with well-known developers that have some sort of extra security verification. Particularly try to avoid brand new apps with very few installs and reviews. It's just riskier, as any issues are unlikely to be discovered or reported. When possible, don't allow unnecessary permissions either. If an app is asking for your contacts, don't allow it. If it needs your gallery, don't allow it unless you're trying to upload an image. This, I will admit, may break some functionality, however. Thank you to Bleeping Computer, The Hacker News, and Secure List for information on this app. I thought it was pretty interesting. And of course, thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime, and until next time, stay secure.